everybody would mute themselves. And certainly if you have questions that you want to write in the chat, feel free to do that, and we'll have time to ask questions at the end also. So this will be an interesting, hopefully fun cooking session here. We're going to start I'm going to start by saying hi. I'm Sally Lipsky, and I am from Plant-Based Pittsburgh, along with Brittany, Drudy, and Linda Jones, and others. And what you're going to do today is we're going to have, along with the cooking demonstration for 3 dishes, we're also going to show you some more recipes, and we're going to have a little game, guess the secret ingredient, before you actually get to see how a recipe is made or what the result of it is. So, and I think some of these are going to be very easy for you. So we're going to start with the other thing I want to mention is that tomorrow everybody who registered will get an email from me with a copy of the recipes that you're going to see right now on the slide, on the PowerPoint, as well as a link to the YouTube channel with the recording and show notes. Yes, I will answer oftentimes the show notes, right? I guess that's what you mean. But sometimes things are in, if we talk about something that Philip said, I'll add it to the message in our email. Okay. Okay, Karen, hello, I recognize you. So let's begin with number 1. Let's see. Maybe I'm not. One. Okay, first recipe is strawberry mango rolls. If you want to just write in the chat, what do you think the secret ingredient is? It's multiple times here in the ingredients directions, one thing. So just take a gander. What do you think the secret ingredient is? I'll just give you a few moments, and then I will add, maybe not, a hint. So you might want to change somebody. It's thin and translucent, and you can see the filling. So some kind of paper for rice papers. You're at brown rice wraps. You got it. Yes, very good. So I am going to stop the share. And now we're going to see Linda Jones in her kitchen. And now take it away, Linda.
Hello, everybody. Glad to be with you. I read a book recently that was written by a restaurant owner, and the title was Desserts Save the World. I'm not sure about that, but they sure make me happy, and I smile when I'm eating desserts. So we're going to get going. I could not find locally any brown rice paper wraps. I got these. I found these at East End Food Co-op and also Whole Foods, and they were fine. This is the first time I have used them. I'm kind of excited to try and challenged to try them. They're very delicate and brittle when they come out of the package. And on the recipe, you'll see we have to soften them before we can use them. So getting back to something I said last month about mise en place, the French phrase that means everything in place. For this recipe, it comes together pretty quickly, but you need to have things ready to go. So I have, if you can see, my fruits. This is a mango strawberry, and I put some blueberries. We're going to make a wrap. Also, these rolls are going to have lettuce. This is romaine lettuce. The ribs are removed. I've also used spinach with these. And I think the star ingredient as far as taste goes is fresh mint. Now, I learned something since I'm not growing mint now. I learned that you can freeze mint. So I purchased fresh mint. Removed it from the stems, dried it off, rinsed it and dried it off, and put it in the freezer for a couple hours, and then put it into a hard sided container to keep them, because they are very brittle. The frozen mint leaves are very brittle. Okay, so that's that Carrie takes care of the fruit. I found this recipe in Forks Over Knives a few years ago, and it just looked interesting to me to try this. Here's the mango one. They're very pretty. That's what caught my attention. They're very pretty. And most of the roll recipes in here are savory, and this was the only sweet one. So that really caught my eye because I like sweets. So we're going to take this wrap. Now there's a few methods for softening the wrap. I like this way first. And when you get the PDF tomorrow, it's the alternate method. I like to run this under your faucet for about 5 seconds, both sides, and it will start to loosen. And then quickly bring it over to your table or countertop on a very wet, this is a very wet tea towel. So I'm going to do that right now. We can get started. Okay, it's still pretty firm, but it's pliable. Okay, we lay it down. And most of these spring rolls or summer rolls, I've heard both names, have sauces with them. This dessert recipe in the Forks Over Knives magazine did not have a sauce, so I made one up. I used some mangoes and extra mangoes that I had, so I put them in my blender, and I also added kale. I'm always trying to add some vegetables to things, but you can do all strawberries, you can do all blueberries as a sauce. It's up to you, but I do like them with a sauce. Okay, we're going to start at the edge, the round edge that's closest to you, and we're going to put a few pieces of mango. The end result, your wrap is going to be about 5 or 6 inches long, and then we'll cut it in half, and I'll show you. Some mango there. I'll do some strawberry slices. Everything is thinly sliced. We'll put some lettuce, romaine lettuce on top. And then we will put some mint, like 3 or 4 small leaves. And then we're ready to roll. So you pick it up, you pick the side up that's closest to you, and you kind of roll over one time. And then I'm going to get the left side in, the right side in, and then we roll. And basically, you're done. I'm going to then cut it on the diagonal. And it's ready. I'll put it here ready to serve. So in that way, we can use the dipping sauce. But then I thought, what if we want to, what if we put the sauce inside? And then we don't have to have, if we're taking them somewhere, we don't have to have another side dish. So I'm going to do the same thing. Here's my wrap ready to go. So we'll do the same thing. I'll put some blueberries in this time. I'll put some more mango. You can use other fruits that you choose. We'll put our lettuce in. Put our mint. I have to tell you, I froze mint a few days ago. I took it out last night to platter. And when I went to look at it this morning, it had turned brown. So when you thaw if your mint is thawed or thawed right before you're going to use it. Okay, here we go again. Well, let's drizzle some sauce on. I wouldn't put a lot of sauce on. just maybe a couple dollops. You don't want it to get soggy, and you don't want it to cover up the fruits. You want to see the pretty fruits. So I have a couple, maybe a total of a tablespoon in there. And we'll start at the bottom, just like we did before. Roll it a little bit up. The sides go in. And that blueberry is trying to escape. And then we roll. And it sticks together. I mean, what you can't, if you forgot something, you cannot unroll it. They stick together. This paper sticks very well and very quickly. So here we are. If you can see it. The spring rolls. They're very good. Now, also in the article, I'll just mention to you, the savory ones can be made. I saw one that I'm probably going to try it next. Really just whatever vegetables you have. You can use peppers, carrots, cucumbers, all sticks, shredded cabbage, still some lettuce. Roll it up, and their dipping sauce is peanut butter thinned out with water and a little bit of sriracha or chili paste. So you have a more savory roll. And here's a picture of the savory rolls before they were cut in half. So it's just, it's something different. It's fun, and it goes together pretty quickly if you have all the ingredients. So I hope you try it. I hope you enjoy it. And that's it. Any questions?
Any questions before we move on? We're going to go back to the slideshow. What is the name of the magazine?
What's the issue?
It's Forks Over Knives, summer 2019.
Oh, good. I have that. I have all of them.
Oh, great. Okay, it's on page 67. It's called Wrap and Roll. So I was a little intimidated by these spring rolls, but you don't have to be. They're fun to work with.
And can you use frozen mango? Someone asked.
I don't see why not. I would thought maybe pat it to make it dry. You don't want anything to be too moist. That's going to make your wrap soggy. That's why I don't recommend a lot of sauce if you put sauce in before you roll it. And these can be put in the refrigerator and used within 30 days, just in a sealed like baggie.
On the vegetable ones, you can even pop them in the air fryer and crisp them up.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Okay, let us move on to share and go down to maybe not. This is not working. Okay. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, chocolate mousse. Linda's going to do this, but take a moment. What do you think the secret ingredient is? Write it in the chat room. See what you can come up with. Someone said avocado. Keep going, keep going. Well, some good guesses there. Here is my hint, one of the highest antioxidant capacity of all popular fruits and vegetables. And some of you, yes, I see you got it, blueberries. So we will stop the share and go back to Linda.
All right. So there's lots of mousse recipes out there. I've tried a few. I like this one the best. It starts out with roasted sweet potatoes. I highly recommend roasting your potatoes with the skins on, of course, rather than steaming or microwaving or boiling. When you do it that way, there's a lot of moisture in the potatoes, so you might get a soupier mousse. So I like roasting them and then peel them. So basically, everything gets put in your blender. So we're going to add, and this recipe supposedly serves 2 people. It's around 8 ounces of cooked orange sweet potatoes. We're going to put that in. Fresh or frozen strawberries, or blueberries, excuse me. If you use frozen, let them thaw completely and maybe pat them dry a little bit. That was a 1/2 cup. 4 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa powder. So today, I've made it before with 4 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa powder. It's delicious. Today, I decided to try something different. I have 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder and 2 tablespoons of carob powder. The reason I did that is because I have a sensitivity to caffeine, so I thought I would lessen the caffeine effect by doing cocoa and carob. Now, cocoa and cacao come from the same plant. It's a difference in processing. All 3 of these have different nutrients that are good for you. The cocoa powder is processed at a very high heat to make it into a powder. The cacao powder is cold pressed. The cacao plant is cold pressed to make that into a powder. So there's not as much damage to the antioxidants and the other things that are good in it. And carobs is a completely different plant. It looks a lot like cocoa powder, but it doesn't taste like it, and there's no caffeine in carob powder. So we're doing some of each today. Then we have a 1/4 cup of date paste. You can do less. It depends how much of a sweet tooth you have. So I'm going to put that in now. A little bit of vanilla, or they say you can use almond extract too. I like vanilla. And this is an optional ingredient, silken tofu. I'm going to add a 1/4 cup. You can do less or more. I've made it both ways, with and without it. I really like it with it has the silky, smooth effect. So I like this, but you can definitely make it without. And we're good to go. So this is going to be a little bit noisy, my Vitamix, because there's not a lot of liquid. Vitamix works the best when there's some liquid in your container first. There's not a lot of liquid in here, so I'm going to, you might hear some noise. Let me just check that. Yeah, I'm going to scrape down the sides just a little bit. In another few seconds. Okay, you process it just as long as you need to get everything incorporated. And I'll show you what it looks like. Very smooth and very creamy. I'm using 2 dishes here. These are my crystal dessert dishes that I haven't used in 20 years. It makes a really, I think, big, a lot for 2 people. You can also serve this in a large bowl. It's a lot of mousse, I think. I think it would be better really for 3, maybe 4 people. Probably. I would say this could easily feed 4 people. dessert. And we can garnish it with some blueberries, excuse me, raspberries. Here, this is what it looks like. I also whipped up, I decided to make something I've never made before. I decided to try some Aquafaba whipped cream. And I did, and I'm kind of happy. I did this at about 10:30. The thing with Aquafaba whipped cream is it doesn't last very long. It deflates a little bit, but it's very good. And here's what it looks like. So that's mousse. And it has to be.
Linda, you should know that everybody is drooling in the chat room, okay?
It has to be refrigerated. It is good. It's really good. And the sweet potatoes make it great. Nobody ever guesses. I've given this to friends who are not whole food plant-based, and they have no clue that they're eating sweet potatoes or blueberries. So, so enjoy. I enjoy this.
Yeah, we do want to enjoy, if you can. Yeah. Gorgeous. Yeah, and we all love the presentation. And the fact that you got out your crystal for us, as I said, is quite an honor.
Well, the Food Network always says you eat with your eyes first, and I'm a true believer in that. I guess maybe I'm a visual person. And as I'm speaking, Jimmy is reaching over to grab my husband, Jimmy. The mousse is disappearing, so maybe we should call it disappearing mousse. And I'll put the Aquafaba back in the fridge.
Okay. Well, great, great. Okay, so we're going to move on. Is there any questions? Not for 4 people. Oh, how long does the Aquafaba last?
Well, that's interesting. I don't know. I don't think it lasts more than maybe Brittany can chime in, or Sally, a few hours. I don't think it'll hold overnight. There is a little cream of tartar in it, a little vanilla, and maple syrup. So
somebody wants to, oh, I'm sorry.
Supposedly the cream of tartar, wait, I'll bring it up, should help it. And it took about I had to use my mixer or hand mixer. It took about 4 minutes.
Nice.
So.
Looks great.
Somebody wants to know, what is the brand name of the rice papers you used?
Yes. Blue Dragon. And I called a few Asian food stores asking them for the brown rice, and they did not carry them. So maybe you can get them online.
Yeah. Yeah. Brittany, I just wanted to say before we go on to you, you have my picture up.
I'll get on camera.
Okay, I just want to make sure you realize that, because we will go, why store them in the refrigerator? I do the same thing with wraps if they are, okay, yeah, and I will also put in for the dessert wraps, I'll put in, someone wants to know the issue, and I'll put that in my email tomorrow also.
Okay, yeah, summer 2019.
Okay. I'll put that there and send it to everyone. Okay, thank you. That was fantastic, Linda. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I am going to now move over to Brittany, but we'll go to Brittany's recipe, which is, if we can all see that, the chocolate chip skillet cookie. And I had texted her, I was making this last night, some of your friends. So She has, this should be an easy one. She has a secret ingredient, and that everyone's already writing it. Aquafaba, aquafaba, because we were just talking about it. Of course, it's aquafaba. Liquid and canned beans. There you go. Our beautiful, versatile aquafaba. Whoops. Okay, so I am going to stop the share. And Brittany, if you want to pin yourself.
All right. Well, I decided to make this one because this is one of my favorite desserts really to make. I had this for my birthday cake this year. If you love cookie dough and a little bit of, it's kind of like a mix between a cookie and cookie dough. I probably should have named it a little bit different, but it's very soft when it comes out, but I love it because there's actually no flour in it and it's very simple. There's like 6 ingredients. You can make it in your blender. It's so easy. And so we made a video on it, or I made a video on it a while ago. And it's just been a real big hit here. So I was going to make one ahead of time to show you guys the finished product because it takes around 30 minutes. But to be honest, we're in the middle of moving. So I'm trying to clean out stuff, and probably having 2 desserts here isn't the best when it's just the 2 of us. So I just decided to do one today. But just to show you guys, that's what it looks like when it's done. I figured since we're virtual anyway, I have photos. And so it's a really beautiful dessert. You can serve anywhere from 4 to 8 people, depending on how big pieces you make. And literally, if you love cookie dough, this is really cookie dough and chocolate cookies. This is really the greatest cake. So I'm going to show you guys. Come over here. And so I like to do this in a springform pan because it's really nice after it comes out and cools. You can just remove the sides and drop out the pan, and then you can just serve it on that. It's a very delicate, soft dessert. So if you want to put this in a silicone pan, it's probably going to be more scooped out with a spoon than cut into a cake. One of my moderators in our Facebook group, though, put in half a cup of flour. And so if you're looking for it to be less cookie dough, more chocolate chip cake, you can add half a cup of flour to it, and that seems to firm it up. And also I've heard people like to keep it in the freezer and pull that out, and sometimes that firms it up, or leaving it in the refrigerator for a little bit after it cools down. So there's a couple different routes you can go with it, but it's very, very simple. So I have my Vitamix here, but you can use any blender. And the only things that we're going to leave out from this recipe is the chocolate chips, unless you want it to be a chocolate cookie, because we want those to be kind of spread out in the batter. And then we're going to leave out the baking soda and baking powder and just kind of fold it in when it's done. I've made it before where I've dumped everything in, not thinking about it. It still works, but just showing you kind of an optimal amount. So it's 15 ounces of chickpeas, and everyone's cans are slightly different on the amount of liquid. I've also spoofed and just dumped the whole can in and then realized oh, I didn't measure out the amount exactly, and it's worked. So it is a very forgiving recipe, which is kind of my favorite way to cook. If you've seen our channel or my recipes, it's usually, people make it lots of different ways, and it usually works out no matter what. So I have the jar right here. So I want half a cup of the liquid. Sometimes it equals out and is perfect. See, this one has a little bit extra, just to show you. And then because we're adding it in with the liquid, I don't usually drain and rinse. So that's even easier. Takes only a second to do. And then I also have 3 large pitted dates. Now I use medjool dates, and this is the sweetness I like. I've been refined sugar-free for a while, but if you want to add more dates, or if you have smaller dates, you can kind of play around with this. But 3 large pitted dates, I found each time works perfect. And you can't taste the chickpeas. So if this is one of your first plant-based desserts using chickpeas, it doesn't taste. It tastes peanut buttery and just I don't even know how to describe it, but there's no chickpea taste at all. So don't be weary of the whole can being in there. And then I have just some powdered peanut butter, or powdered, we actually have cashew powdered today, which is really nice. PB2 started carrying this line, and it's just one ingredient. So I like that. I find this at Walmart, and it lasts me forever. It takes me a really long time to go through it, and there's only 1/4 of a cup. Now it can be prepared, or you can just throw in the powder. Again, it's really versatile. So I wrote it the way I made it, but I've made it lots of ways of not paying attention and just kind of dumping it in, and it works out fine. You can also use any nut butter that you'd like. So if you don't have powdered, you can use almond butter or peanut butter and play around with it so that, you know, it tastes different each time. That's it for that part. We're just going to blend it until it's nice and smooth. If your blender has trouble, every blender is a little bit different with how wide they are. You can always add a little bit of water or even plant milk until it gets nice and creamy. So I'm going to mute myself real quick so you guys don't hear the blender. Give me a second to blend this. All right, so a couple of things that you could do, especially if you don't have a Vitamix, is you can soak the dates in hot water and then blend it out or drain the water. That'll help soften them. You could prepare the powder into a peanut butter so it's nice and looks kind of like peanut butter spread. Those two things will kind of help out if you need. But it worked out perfectly because Vitamixes are really kind of powerhouses, which is nice to, once you've bought a Vitamix, it's hard to kind of go back. So just to show you, I would generally just add this to my spring form pan, but I'm just going to put it into this clear dish so you guys can see. It looks very much just like batter. You also could play around and add vanilla to this. You could add chocolate powder if you want this to be like cocoa, or you know, anything like that would be nice to add in now if you want to change up the recipe. I'm always kind of swapping out things. We tend to make our recipes like 20 different ways, so it never gets boring. So I'll always change it out. Sometimes if I have walnut butter, I'll add that, or you know, make it more vanilla tasting. You could add whipped cream to this. We usually will serve this with nice cream, all different kinds of flavors of nice cream. And like I said, this was such a hit. I made it for my birthday cake this year. So now I'm going to add in our baking soda and baking powder, but you can see it pretty much looks like cookie dough, a little bit thinner consistency. And then it's 1/2 teaspoon of both. So really easy. So you don't, you know, forget which amount's the same. And then you also could leave out the chocolate chips. I'm going to add some dark chocolate chips to this, but you know, you could also leave it out if you don't have any at home. All right, once that's kind of folded and mixed together, I just like to add it. It's going to be a little bit harder for you guys to see. You can line this with parchment paper if you want it to make it a little bit easier and less of a mess. I just remove again the sides once it's cooled, and it just kind of serve it on the bottom of the pan, and it works out great. And I just kind of help spread it out as evenly as possible. Now I have had people ask about date paste versus dates. I haven't really messed around with that per se because I always have dates on hand, but I'm sure you could probably play around with it. Again, it's really forgiving. I've done it 10 different ways and it's worked out, not paying attention sometimes. I just kind of spread it out evenly. And then, you know, you could fold in the dark chocolate chips if you want a lot, but I tend to kind of try to be a little bit more on the sparing side of adding in, like, you know, a cup to it. I just kind of sprinkle them on top, and that works out really nice just to give me a little bit of that chocolate flavor. All right. Kind of put this all in. so you guys could see. And it only takes 30 minutes to bake, so it's relatively pretty quick. And you just want to let it cool down completely before you remove it from the oven. So I just take like a handful and just kind of spread it around. And then I'm going to pop this maybe a little bit more just to get the edges. All right, and then for dark chocolate chips, Trader Joe's sells a really awesome 1-ingredient dark chocolate. I always buy these little chocolate chips. Santa Barbara actually also sells a 3-pound bag. I know I saw Wanda Huberman was in here earlier. She introduced me to that brand. That's really great. And even this little guy lasts me a really, really, really long time in our kitchen. I find that I'm not, having to go out and buy new stuff all the time for it. So I'll show you guys. There you go. So this freezes great. You can have it. It was my 31st birthday cake that I've wanted. And we always serve it with nice cream. And then I'll show you guys real quick what it looks like when you go to dive into it. It's really fun. And I have this video if anyone wants to watch me do it all over again on our YouTube channel. If you just type in Skillet Cookie, the Drudy family, a video comes up with me making it all again. But does anyone have any questions about this guy? I'm going to pop this in at 350 for 30 minutes. Wish you guys could smell it. It already smells.
I have to say, Brittany, I when I texted you, I said amazing it. Yeah, I also used a square pan, someone else a different kind. And I liked it even better today because it was in the refrigerator.
Yeah, it does firm up. So a lot of the feedback that I got on it was that it was soft and not like a cookie. And it is, when I wrote the recipe, there is 0 flour in it. So it naturally is going to be softer. But I do find if you leave it, if you can not eat it when you pull it, or maybe you make it the night before and stick it in the refrigerator, it does, set up and firm up a little bit more. I've noticed that with like leftovers, because this is really like my treat. I don't rarely share this with Mark, so this will last me an entire week of just having a little bit each night. So I have found, like, when I go to have the leftovers, I will say that someone asked about white beans. It will work with a different bean. I actually like it with chickpeas the best though, because they have a natural kind of peanut buttery flavor. But if you have white beans, you can use white beans as well. Or black beans,
and
make it chocolate. I mean, that'll work too. If you want to.
Somebody asked about, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
It's like a cashew powder. She got it at Walmart.
Walmart, Amazon. I'm trying to think of anywhere else I've seen it. I think it's a brand new product by PB2. It's just 1 ingredient, and it's really nice to use in something like this.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Any other questions before we move on? We have several other recipes that we're just going to show you the recipe, easy recipes, and then Linda and I will show you the finished product of each of our recipes. And then there'll be questions. Okay. So let's see. So this is Linda's next recipe. Can you even see it? And what do you think the secret ingredient is? It's in the frosting. And I will give you a moment to read through it before she shows you the finished one. Yes, sweet potato. I mean, don't we love them? Yes, everyone got that one. So Linda, would you like to show us this one? Wherever you are.
Okay, I had to unmute myself.
Yes.
Okay, so yes, Oat Thumping Cookies. I made a few, and here's what they look like. Oat Thumping Cookies, pretty basic. It uses oat flour, which you can throw rolled oats into a blender and make oat flour. I've also made this with a white whole wheat pastry flour. It's not a sweet cookie. That's why you definitely need something in the middle. So after you incorporate all the ingredients, roll them out, put them on a parchment lined cookie sheet. And before you indent the cookies in the middle, if you want to, I rolled some of mine in crushed walnuts first and also unsweetened coconut. So that's something you can do or not. Then, as I say, indent them in the middle, bake them. And when they first come out, they'll be soft. So don't fool around with them too much. But take your finger and lightly indent again so you have a nice place in the middle to fill. I filled some of these with unsweetened fruit spread. And the others, I used my fudge frosting. This frosting is dangerous, delicious, delectable. The two ingredients are, as we said, sweet potatoes, and I use vegan semi-sweet chocolate chips. The key to this is that when you combine those two ingredients, they should be warm. So bake, as I said before, bake these, for sure bake these, because if you have extra moisture in them from boiling or microwaving or steaming, it might cause the chocolate to seize. So definitely bake these, let them cool a little bit, remove the skins, and while they're still warm, in the microwave, I melt the chocolate chips. And then both of those go into the blender and boom, you have fudge frosting, which is just out of this world. It's thick and it'll thicken up as it sets. And it'll also thicken up a lot in the freezer or in the refrigerator. I have frozen, I've made a big container of the fudge frosting, and I have frozen it and thawed it and then stirred it, and it works out fine. So keep this recipe handy for you.
Linda, those look like they came from a bakery.
Well, I took time. Yeah, I used a cookie scoop and then rolled it, so very good.
Very impressive. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, you have another one, but let us go and look at the PowerPoint first. Oh, I forgot yes. I forgot my hint. Yes. Always a thing. Okay, Linda has one more and it's called Roz's Nuts. And
two more, actually. This is the next little
two more. Yes, you're right. You have the spice cake. Oh my heavens.
Yeah.
Your kitchen must smell delicious. Okay. What do you think the secret ingredient is? I have a couple. Yep. Here we go. That versatile, beautiful aquafaba. So back to you, Linda.
I think Aquafaba is the star of the day. This morning before the class started, I looked up on Amazon. I might order a t-shirt that says Aquafaba, Aquafaba, Aquafaba. It just made me laugh. So this is an old recipe that's been around forever. It uses, it's used egg whites, but we wanted to go vegan. So we had to take out the egg whites and add the Aquafaba. And I named it Roz's Nuts because we had a dear family friend who passed away last year. And she used to make pounds and pounds and pounds of these all the time and give them away. And she was just a delight. So this recipe that you'll get calls for 2 pounds of walnuts, which is about 7 cups. I know that's a lot, but these freeze extremely well. If you make all that and you only need a small portion, put it in a Ziploc bag and put it in your freezer. It works great. So you whip up, here's what they look like. And my bowl's a little bit lower than it was this morning because I've been munching. You whip up the aquafaba, then you slowly add the cinnamon and date sugar. Now, if you want to make it a little more savory, you can take out a little bit of the cinnamon or a little bit of the sugar. You can add smoked paprika, maybe chili powder and cinnamon is sometimes good, or vegan Worcestershire sauce. So there's a lot of different variations that you can do. After you whip all the ingredients that you have in your mixer, and it takes a few minutes, it gets frothy. It'll deflate a little bit when you put the cinnamon in, but that's okay, and the sugar in. And then it gets thick too. So have your nuts in a bowl. You can use mixed nuts. I used all walnuts today. Take time to incorporate the whole nut, everything with the aquafaba mixture. Put them on a parchment lined cookie sheet and it bakes at a very low oven, 225 for an hour. I had 2 baking sheets going, so after 30 minutes, I flipped them. But let them cool completely, and then you can store them or freeze them any way you want. But it's a nice recipe to have.
Somebody asked if you think you can use a flax egg, which would be 1 tablespoon water and 1 tablespoon flax and 3 tablespoons water. What do you think?
I'm not sure.
I'm not either.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think that would give you enough. It's 1.5 cups of aquafaba. So you would need a lot of flax egg. Are you thinking to replace the aquafaba with the flax egg?
Yes, that's what the person is.
Yeah, I'm not
asking.
sure. I don't know. I've never tried that. Maybe Brittany can chime in. I don't know. But you do need 1.25 cups because it's 2 pounds of nuts or 7 cups. So you need a lot of the aquafaba. I don't think the flax egg is going to inflate. I don't think it's going to get more voluminous. Is that the correct word? Maybe it will.
I think it will have a different consistency.
Yeah.
In the
So
coating too.
yeah, I really don't know. I've never tried that, but let me know if you do and if it works. But yeah.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you.
Mhm.
So let's go on to next one. Okay, so this is, Linda's been so proficient, this prolific, I should say. What do you think the secret ingredient? Yeah, you're getting it now. Okay. Back to you.
So this really challenged me when I saw this. It was called kale cake, but we couldn't call it kale cake because we would give the answer away. So when I whipped it all up, all the ingredients, and it's really like basic zucchini cake ingredients because it has, now there's flaxseed in this, and it has the spices of like a zucchini cake, like cinnamon and ginger and nutmeg, and there's some vanilla in there. When I created the batter, including 2 to 3 cups of kale, it was really green. And I thought, oh, great, this is wonderful for St. Patrick's Day. I'm going to have a spice cake that's green with kale in it. This is good. Well, once I baked it, it lost some of it. You can see it lost some of the greenness, but it turned out good. I made them in these cute little buntlet pans that I have, but the recipe that you'll get calls for a springform pan, an 8-inch or 9-inch springform pan with parchment on the bottom. That works out well. And like the zucchini cake, sometimes I put walnuts in or chocolate chips in my zucchini cake. You can do that before you bake these. I did not. So to serve it, I'm going to put one here, put a little dollop of the whipped cream still hanging in there. The vegan whipped cream is still inflated. Put a little bit on that maybe, and a sprinkle of ground up vegan chocolate chips. And I don't know if I'll tip it or not, if you can see what it looks like. Also on this platter, after I baked them, I drizzled some melted chocolate on it and sprinkled some walnuts. So there's a lot of different ways you can serve it. And hope you enjoy it if you make it.
Okay. Another wow from my end. Yeah. Whipped cream recipe in the email, sure. Add that too. Yeah, incredible, Linda. Everything looks so good. Very creative, yes. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Been fun.
So we have one more recipe that I always make, always have. Okay. Let's get that. And I adapt these from a Lindsay Nixon from Neil Barnard's last book. And she had a recipe for cupcakes. I make them. I can't remember a day I haven't had at least one or more. Already had two today. Secret ingredient. Does that help there? Okay, Patty just got it. Yes, it is zucchini. It is zucchini. And so I always have, Michelle, you can put yourself on mute. I also have, you can see me. Can you see me? Maybe not.
Yep, we can see you.
Okay, that this is the, let me see, can you see that? Because I still have the PowerPoint up. Yeah. That I love them. They're moist. They are, I use the Santa Barbara chocolate chips that Brittany mentioned earlier. And they freeze so well. They really do. And I feel like I'm having a little bite of heaven, healthy heaven, every time I eat these.
They look marvelous. Just push them through that screen again.
I
I couldn't grab it fast enough.
Yes, you're right about that. Yes. Let me stop this. And so tomorrow, or some of you said today, I will send you this with the final page of all the secret ingredients in our show today. Are there questions that we haven't answered? There we go. Yeah, I guess not.
Someone asked what kind of flour you used for the brownie.
Oh, thank you. I see that now. Yes, I'm going up. I'm going backwards. Okay. I use, for this batch, I use the whole wheat white flour and half oat flour. I've used spelt flour before. Anything works as far as, well, I wouldn't use corn. That will change. But yes, the whole wheat white I have in hand, and oat flour I always have in hand. Any other questions that I'm missing here?
I'd like to see a show doing those little mug cakes that you can pop in the microwave. I think Forks Over Knives or something had one time, but I don't know where I saw it.
Yeah. I think I have one in my notebook.
Oh,
It's called monkey cake, a vegan monkey cake. I've never tried it, but
in a mug?
I believe so.
Oh, okay.
Brittany, did you do a mug cake?
I did a little one, but you bake it in the oven. It's kind of like a mug cake, but instead of microwaving it, it's like a 2-person. I made it for Valentine's Day a couple years ago.
I'll see if I can find it. If I can find it, I haven't tried it yet. It's in my big binder to make or to do.
I made it when I saw the recipe, but I don't know what, I have so many papers that I've printed off.
Oh, I understand. Oh my. And anytime Brittany posts a recipe, then I add another paper or two to my collection. Because hers
I
are trouble.
finally got a binder, 3-ring binder for her recipes and for Dylan Holmes.
Oh,
When you make oat flour, how long does that stay in the refrigerator? At
Oh,
least
I just keep it in a
I've never had
container in the cupboard. I don't keep it
Oh.
in there.
Had it go bad.
it won't go bad.
I haven't had it go bad.
I haven't either. And
Okay.
It's like oats. It just stays for months, you know.
Okay. And so I don't need to store it in the refrigerator because I store it in the refrigerator.
Oh,
You can, I mean,
Wow.
that you can, I mean, like nuts and that tend to spoil, they say, but so I mean, it's probably safer to do that, but I also have just kept it in the pantry.
Okay.
yeah.
I actually,
Yeah, and
I
I
I store all my flowers in the fridge.
yeah, I actually store mine in the freezer.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
because it's out of the way. In the refrigerator, I've got so many vegetables that I don't have room for something like flour that I use occasionally. I put everything in the freezer.
And the same goes for almond flour. If I made my own almond flour, it lasts.
Yeah.
I do keep almond flour in the fridge because of the fat content. And like not, you know, it could,
yeah, nuts will go
bad.
rancid. I would definitely keep a refrigerator, freezer, any kind of nut flour.
Okay. And they just last. They don't go bad.
Mm.
Okay. Awesome.
I have to say, somebody asked about oat flour. Yes, you can use oat flour in the brownies. Absolutely. And Peggy asked, what funds your program? You will find a little message. We are donation based. We are actually a nonprofit, and we do like to reimburse people for who are cooking for the ingredients, but we are an all volunteer donation base. So when you get the email and you like what we do and you want to add a few dollars, you'll have a link there that will go to us. So we do appreciate that. And also, if you go on our website, Plant-Based Pittsburgh, I'll put that there are so many so many recipes, free recipes on it, but including dessert recipes. Anything else? Do you see this, Brittany? Rosie's 7-year-old daughter wants you to know that she's watching with a mug of your hot cocoa. Yes, this has been wonderful.
You guys have been lifesavers. So thank you so much for everything you guys do. It has changed my life. So
Wonderful. Wonderful. It's nice that you join in there, Corey.
Yeah, we feel connected to all of you. We really do, whether it's on Zoom or in person. We have a connection, a bond.
Yeah.
So thank you.
And next month, we don't have a topic yet, but we have a very fun cook here, Lulu. She's not on now, but we have Lulu Harold, who's going to do She's done one. If you go on our YouTube channel, she has done one in the past. Excellent one. So she's going to do another one in April,
Mhm.
and everyone is welcome.
If you, I would say if anyone has any suggestions for a topic for a demonstration, we'd love to hear from you.
Right.
My church has something called Mechanicsville Fellowship Club. And in Easter, we're going to have an Easter bonnet garden tea. And I'm asking them to bring sandwiches. So I've been researching different kinds of fillings for sandwiches. And then some kind of plant-based little dessert to go with it. So I think that'll be fun, thinking that spring is coming and things like cucumber sandwiches and things like that. Bell pepper
Yeah.
sandwiches, all kinds of nice, pretty colorful spring things.
You could do a chickpea salad instead of an egg salad.
Right, yeah.
Chickpea tuna salad is one of my favorite recipes. I think I got that from Susan Greenberg.
Oh,
And also there's a potato salad recipe using hummus, I think from Esselstyn.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. And you have, oh my gosh, the Esselstyn, the eggs, the deviled eggs for
Oh,
Easter.
yeah.
Potatoes.
You know, with a little paprika on it.
Right, they are pretty.
Yes. What is the name of our YouTube channel? It says Plant-Based Pittsburgh. And there'll be a link. If you go on our website, Plant-Based Pittsburgh, they have links to all of this. But you'll also get the link tomorrow. Or maybe later today, depending how quickly we'll. Yeah. But tomorrow, we like to say the next day. Well, thank you, everyone. It's really been a pleasure to be with you on Zoom. And if there is no one else, and it looks like there's no one else, I see people are starting. We'll see you in later. Hello, Wanda. I see you. Thank you. I'll see you. Well, you said liberally.
Thanks, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.